Hello, everybody, again. I hope you're having a great final day of Mastering the Music Business 2020. My name is Wesley O'Hara, and I'm the CMO of a company called HyperOrange, which is a music marketing tech consultancy. I work with major record labels, primarily in the US, to help them install new marketing technologies, mostly related to data and being able to track users and being able to create the best experiences for all of our fans around the world with artists on all sorts of different platforms. So today, what we're going to discuss is how to create the best content that we possibly can and create the best journeys that we're also able to measure in order to be able to keep serving our fans more and more, no matter where they found us from or where along a social media journey they first started to engage with us. So I'm just going to go ahead and start sharing a presentation. And here we go. I hope you can see my screen. So the actual name of today's workshop is called Set Up for Success, Content Types and Data Capture for the Best Fan Acquisition Experiences. And we're going to start off talking about video and text, which is basically the main things that we have to work with. Visuals plus text plus audio underneath a visual equals a video. And then creating and tracking journeys is going to come second. This is going to be how we can actually, as we're creating things like YouTube videos or while we're making Instagram posts or even just setting up our Instagram profiles, how we can go ahead and make sure that we're giving fans a really rich experience where they can find out more about us no matter which point of entry they're coming to find out, or coming to find our artists or ourselves. And then finally, we're going to go through audience setup. I had a bunch of questions yesterday about audience setup following that conversation of yesterday's workshop. So I'm going to do a little bit of practical in-platform setup of audiences so you guys can check it out as far as making YouTube audiences and creating Facebook and Instagram audiences that really measure where people are coming from and who's finding you and how recently they found you for the first time. Then we're going to close off with a couple minutes of question and answer. If you have any questions, please feel free to make sure that you send them in the chat on Facebook, and we'll circle back to them at the end. So again, if you do have questions throughout the session, please send them in the chat on Facebook. And otherwise, if you would like any, a copy of this presentation or anything, feel free to shoot me an email at w@hyper-orange.com. Again, that's w@hyper-orange.com. So to start off, video and text, the main formula. When we're looking at YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, any of these platforms are going to be pretty straightforward. If we're creating something, it's probably going to be something that we want to get shared and engaged. If not, then maybe it belongs on our personal social media instead of elsewhere. So I just wanted to start off with a couple posts that really reflect what gets shared and what gets engaged heavily on social media. So there's a very popular page on Facebook called Humans of New York, and it's a really good page to check out as far as the most authentic, organic, normal kind of experiences of people just being people. So Humans of New York, if you haven't heard of it before, I would encourage you to check it out. It's a really good example of what people on the internet share a whole lot on social media. And it's people telling their stories. It's people being themselves. And it's just some straightforward pictures and a lot of text. So if we look at this, there's not a whole lot special about any of their posts except they're real. And they're just people telling their stories. So here we can see a little bit of text and a couple photos, 29,000 shares, 17,000 comments, and almost 400,000 page likes. It's insane to see how much people can just go ahead and share things when, if you're looking at this post, there's a lot of text. And basically, the reason that things with lots of text, lots of photos, and things like that tend to get shared a lot is because there's a whole lot to engage. So rather than just doing a really small line of text, think about writing more, think about opening up more, being yourself, showing off a little bit more about what you've been doing. In the context of artists, I try to always think of saying, talk about your experience of making something when you're posting it. So here's an example post from an artist whom I work with called Lil Bird. And basically, nothing special about this post. It's just him with a little bit of a line talking about what is in this song that he's promoting. You can see there's an emoji in there. You can see this post, which is actually an advertisement, has 1.5 thousand likes, 63 shares, and 45 comments. This is a very, very highly engaged piece of content, and I'm going to pop out and show you exactly how it looks. I'm just going to share my screen in a browser really quickly so you can see the actual post. And now, sorry, there's going to be a little hopping back and forth. So Google Chrome, Facebook, share. So here we are. Here's this post that we're discussing right now. I hope you can hear it. But basically, it's him playing his music for a little bit. And then there's the transition into the actual kind of like a lyric video of the song itself. Anyway, you get it. It's a quick little, very, very simple animated video made out of cover art and made out of an artist just going ahead and playing their music. Back to the presentation now, again. For success. So if we look at just how many people actually go ahead and click on this, whether they're clicking on the listen now or clicking on the link that's in the text up above, it's an incredibly high volume of people. So 12% of all people who see this click on it, which is like, it's very, very high. Usually ads are like 1% maybe. Sometimes if they're very relevant targeting, it's higher than that, but these ones are performing at 12%. And it kind of gives us a little bit of a formula to work around of saying, okay, what is it about this post that is just working very well? Similarly, here's just another example of a post from an artist which had an absolutely massive engagement rate for this artist as far as comments goes, as far as likes on the post go. And when we're looking at what the content of the post is, it's a couple people smiling, really well lit, and then there's a whole lot of text talking about what is going on. Now, behind all of these posts, there are a few things that really, really stand out all the way through. And all of them are prominently displaying a person's face. They're smiling, they're not necessarily smiling, but it's a person and you can see them and they're well lit. A lot of the times when I'm helping people make posts or make ads or anything like that, even just making creative, a big question that I'm going to ask is, if you turn the brightness all the way down on your phone, how does this post look? Because a lot of people don't have the brightness on their phone all the way up. A lot of ads, particularly in Instagram and Facebook, and a lot of posts, particularly in Instagram and Facebook, are going to be engaged from a phone. So you have to account for making things brighter, making things really, really visible, and so on. So prominently displaying somebody, having bright and high contrast colors, and then making sure you're really showcasing personality. So I think it can be hard a lot of the times for us as artists or artist management teams to make sure that we're getting an authentic message across. And I think one easy exercise to do with yourself is when you're writing a post or you're writing an advertisement or anything like that, to make sure that it's authentic, just think to yourself, what am I not saying? So if you want to say, I've been in my feelings, I've been in my head thinking a lot, don't just stop there, go further. Say, what have you been thinking about? What have you been feeling? And then reflect on that. And then try to do that one more degree further as well. So just keep trying to open up a little bit more and a little bit more every time you're making a post. It doesn't have to be putting your soul on the line every single time, but just enough that people can actually relate to and get to know you a little bit better from what you're doing. So think of lots of text, pieces of audio, bright colors, and prominently displaying somebody's face are all really important things. Showcasing personality and authenticity go hand in hand. So you really have to make sure that if those aren't there, a lot of it's not going to work quite as well. This might be This will probably be the main slide that you might want to screenshot or take a photo of, as far as kind of coming up with formula for how to go ahead and make posts that are absolutely as good as possible. This applies to video. This applies to videos on YouTube. It applies to Instagram stories, all sorts of things. If the opening can kind of meet, those bright colors, have some music starting, things like that, with the exception of a music video, you can almost always pull this off. So far, we've just kind of taken a look at a few examples that are like insanely highly engaged, all have something consistent underneath them. How do we go ahead and act with this though? So let's think about creating journeys and how people discover our content, how people discover our pages, and what we can do to actually measure them once they've gotten in. So some thoughts we want to have in the back of our mind, and this is another good slide to screenshot and think about whenever you're making, setting up a social media profile or setting up audiences in things like YouTube or Facebook, or setting up tracking. Think about, do we know where a new fan discovered us from? And if so, can we create a specific experience for fans who discovered us from that place? So moving forward, think about all of these different tracking tools and audience building tools that we have at our disposal. We can go ahead and we can find people across Facebook who have interacted with us on other platforms. We can find people who have interacted with us in the whole Google ecosystem and beyond, the Twitter ecosystem and beyond, Snap, TikTok, and so on. And if we've set all of our things up correctly, then we can actually target these people on platforms that we didn't reach them from. So let's say if one of the things that we've spoken about a whole lot yesterday is smart links. So Linkfire, Feature FM, Smart URL, Foundy, all of these links. The really important part of using these links across all of the places where we post links is, if we have these links set up properly and we have a Facebook pixel installed, we have a Google, Twitter, a Snap, and a TikTok pixel installed, then it means anybody who engages any of our links, we can reach on all of those different platforms. So if somebody clicks on a link that we have on Twitter, then we can actually advertise to them on Facebook, to those specific people. If somebody clicks a link in our YouTube description, we can reach them in TikTok, if we so choose to run ads to that pixel. So thinking in the back of our minds, we really need to have all of this tracking and setup built before we're actually rolling out campaigns. So if you have any questions for how to set these things up, there's really good help guides on all of them, as far as, Facebook ads, Twitter ads, Snap ads, and Pixel ads. Those platforms want you to be successful in setting these things up. All of these tools are free. It's important to those platforms to, have pixels installed elsewhere than their own apps, because it helps them better understand user behavior across the whole internet. So here's just a little bit more to think about. One way that I've consistently been trying to get people into an Instagram profile and into discovering an artist is through creation of little snippets that are just beautiful, highly visual, bright, catchy, and hooky, and putting them in Instagram stories, promoting them in Instagram stories, and having them lead back to a user's Instagram highlights reel. So I'm just going to show you a quick clip here. Hopefully it's going to play. If it doesn't, we'll figure that out. Anyway, so imagine you're seeing this in Instagram stories as an ad. And if you swipe up anywhere along this video, it actually leads you through to a highlight on this artist profile. What this lets us do is, when we use an Instagram story highlight, like a landing page, and we're sending people into a highlight, this is something that we can do to create really, really nice experiences for people. So let's say I'm gonna break out back into Google, and here we go. So we're back in Google now, and we're gonna take a quick look at what one of these stories looks like inside. Basically, I'm just going to talk you through it. All of these story highlights have a swipe up link at the bottom of each of them. So every one of these highlights is made for a specific song, and every one of these highlights, it starts off with a little video of that song, really catchy, really beautiful, really hooky, um, and then it goes into a behind the scenes element, which people have just absolutely been loving. We've been getting DMs from artists, from fans all over the place, and so on. But taking a look at this, you can see, there's a see more link at the bottom. If we skip through a little bit, it goes into this behind the scenes interview session. I'm really hoping you guys can all hear this and everything, because if you can't, drop it in the comments, please, and I'll switch out. But anyway, I think you get it. All of these highlights are little behind the scenes interviews of a song that cost $0 to make. They all have subtitles of the text all the way through. So even if people are just going ahead and watching without the audio on, they can still see what Lil Bird is saying. And then there's swipe up links across the bottom of all of these links. And I'm just going to go ahead and click one of these links so you can see what I'm talking about here. So if you do go ahead and swipe up anywhere within the story, then we have one of those smart link landing pages where we can totally control what people are seeing. So these landing pages are editable. You can reorder things however you like. If they go ahead and they hit play at the top, it actually plays the YouTube video for this song. You can see there's, Apple Music, Spotify, Vinyl, etc., all the way through out there. Now, this is pretty straightforward, I think, as far as, sorry, I'm just trying to get back into the presentation. Ooh. Sorry. Can you see my presentation again? No, you cannot. Okay, I'm going to try this again. Sorry. But as I was saying, there we are. All of these landing pages are, all of these Instagram story highlights being treated as a landing page lets us do very specific things in order to find out where people came from. So if somebody has come from an ad into one of those highlights, or if anybody enters into one of those highlights and swipes up, we can see exactly which of the highlights they've come in and gone and done an engagement from. We can also see, if we have all of those pixels installed correctly, which highlights they have not yet engaged with. And this is kind of how we can keep educating ourselves on where to market further. So I'm just going to skip on through. We've discussed this. If you have any questions on that, that's all, drop them in the chat, please. Next things to think about a lot of the time are going to be YouTube videos. So they're heavily visual. Everybody has access to them in just about the whole planet. And there are only a few things that we can do in order to build for people inside a YouTube video. And the main things are going to be thinking about what are the cards, the end cards that we have pop up at the end of the video. So video is finishing, it's wrapping up to its last 10 seconds, and it shows, hey, here's a link to the artist's profile on YouTube, their channel, and here's a link to a playlist with more of the artist's music in it. Those are two things that we can influence pretty effectively. However, when we're even just sharing a link to a YouTube video, it's important to think about, if somebody clicks on our link to a YouTube video, what do they do afterwards? So more often than not, we really want to be accounting for sharing a link to a YouTube playlist where we have multiple of our videos in place instead. And you can share a link to a specific video in that playlist. So people will enter the playlist at the video that they think they're going to go see. And after it finishes, they're going to be consuming more and more of your music and more of your video content. Now, similarly, in the description is going to be the main place where we can use smart links and get some real other platform data capture going. So just remember, if you are making YouTube videos, to make sure that your descriptions are packed out with smart links, and that you're also paying attention to creating audiences from all of these different links. Now, this brings us to our most fun walkthrough practical session, which I think if you have questions of this is going to be the most technical part to understand. So feel free to email me again. Basically, when we are remarketing and we're creating audiences out of YouTube, think about YouTube or Facebook. There are a lot of things that we can do as far as figuring out if it's the first time that somebody has seen a piece of our content. We're also able to figure out who are the really heavy engagers and who's been watching our stuff a whole lot. And then we can also exclude people from our targeting. So if we have, one audience of people who have subscribed to a YouTube channel, then we can always exclude them from our audiences so our subscribers never have to see our ads. But if we have people who have liked some of our videos and have not yet subscribed, it's very effective to run ads to those audiences where when they click on an ad, they actually subscribe to our YouTube channel. So some things to think about when we are creating audiences and going into building audiences around YouTube content or Instagram content are going to be, first, what content is the most valuable? Are we using a long form piece of content? Are we talking about something that is merch related? Are we seeing people who engage something specifically related to a point of sale? And second, what kind of content is purely promotional? As I've said yesterday a whole lot, we want to make sure that anything we're running as an ad is also a value ad. So make sure that people are really, really getting something out of whatever it is they're seeing from you, instead of just getting information. If people are fans of yours and you made a new piece of vinyl and you're posting about it, a large portion of your audience is going to see it. So how can you create something that isn't just a picture of the vinyl saying, hey, buy my new vinyl right now, and instead saying, hey, here's what my new vinyl looks like. It's made in Japan. It's awesome. Create some kind of behind the scenes experience of how you were planning the creation of it. Open up and just keep opening up and showing off your personality through all steps of the process. And then finally, what actions can we track that indicates a lot of fan dedication? So, if we do have smart links, we can see all the different places where people have been clicking. But if we have our pixels connected to things like our merch stores, we can also see which fans have been buying things. On YouTube channels, on Facebook pages, we can create audiences out of people who have been engaging with our posts. And now, let's go ahead and dive right in. We're going to start off with remarketing based on YouTube video engagement. And these are all of the things that you can do to create audiences on YouTube based on what people have done. So if somebody has viewed any video on your channel, and you can choose if they viewed it as ads or as organic, or if they viewed specific videos on your channel as ads or organic, you can create audiences out of all of those things. If they've subscribed to you, if they've visited your channel page, or if they've liked any videos, liked any specific videos, added videos to channels or playlists, commented or shared, all of these actions are things that we can use to create audiences from. So I'm going to create a new share. I'm going to hop back into Google Drive. And now I trust that you are able to see my screen. So right here, I'm inside YouTube ads. So I'm just going to go to ads.google.com so you can find out where I navigated to this section of the platform from. Okay. Come on. Sorry about that. So once you're in Google Ads, you have a Google Ads account created, you've connected your Google Ads account to your YouTube channel, you cannot create audiences in Google Ads for a YouTube channel until you have connected your ad account to your channel. So I'm sorry that this is taking so long to load. Not sure why that's going. We'll give it a couple more seconds. And come on. Okay, so we're inside YouTube ads. There's this section at the top. Sorry about that. There's this section inside tools and settings where there's an audience library and an audience creation section. This is where we really want to go ahead and guess what? Create our audiences and build new audiences. So while we're in this section, we're able to see all of the different accounts that we have connected to our YouTube channel. We're also able to create overlapping audiences, create lookalike audiences. Here we go, sorry about that. Okay, so you can see I'm going into tools and settings, going into the audience manager. It's a lot of dead air here, sorry about this, guys. But basically, while we're in this section, it's a really intuitive platform to use. All you have to do is pick the type of audience that you want to create, the videos that you want included in it. Here we go. So we're going to go ahead and hit create audience. We're going to create an audience out of YouTube users. Boom, boom. It has the channel that's connected selected. If we have multiple channels, all you have to do is hit the button and select different ones. And we can say, so the audience that we're going to build right now is going to be for people who have viewed previous videos on our channel but have not viewed our newest one. And this is something that's important if we're trying to advertise to people who have historically engaged with us but have not seen our newest piece of content. So what we would do is we'd go ahead and we'd select multiple of these videos. We decide how far back we want this audience to go. YouTube lets you go as far back as 540 days. And then we would name this something like, viewed certain videos excluding, and then we would put the name of the new video that they have not yet seen. The opposite of this is also something that we can do. So if we want to go ahead and create an audience where people have viewed the newest video but have not viewed previous videos, this is incredibly important as well. And every time we put out a new video, my team and I make one of these audiences so that we can always find the new fans who have joined our ecosystem from the newest video and have not seen past music videos. So let's just say the way that would look is, they've viewed this specific video and we would not select any other videos. And then we would have to, while running advertisements, create a second audience, which is viewed all of the other videos. And we would exclude that list of if they viewed all of the other videos or any of the other videos, except for the newest one, from our ads in order to let us only be targeting people who have seen our brand new video. Similarly, you can run ads to people who've liked any video from your channel. One really easy kind of channel growth ad setup to do is create an audience of people who have liked any video from the channel and exclude everybody who has subscribed to the channel from your audience. So basically, this means you're going to target people who have liked your videos, but they haven't subscribed to you yet. They have, shown some strong indication that they're going to be interested in your channel, but they haven't taken, the extra step and press the subscribe button. These are people that you can just give an ad where when they click the ad, it immediately subscribes them to your channel. It's really efficient, it's straightforward, and it's great for channel growth. Now, similar kinds of ads, similar kinds of audiences we can set up are in the Facebook Business Manager ecosystem. So this is inside Business Manager. I'm not going to walk you through how to get to this page because I'm a little worried about how long it would take. In Facebook Business Manager, if you navigate to the audience section, I actually do have, I believe, a separate tab showing, okay, so if you just go into Business Manager and you hit this drop-down menu, then within here, there's this whole menu that you can scroll through, and there's a bunch of really important things to set up, like analytics, attribution, audience insights, and so on. But if you click on audiences, that will lead you to this audience creations tab. And while you're in here, you can create audiences based off of basically anything connected to Facebook, anything connected to Instagram, or anything connected to your Facebook pixel, which is installed outside of Facebook and Instagram. So I've just gone ahead and I've hit create custom audience. This shows us all of the different sources of data that we're able to use for creating these audiences. So let's just say I want to create an audience of people who saw a new Instagram video but have not seen any of my previous Instagram videos. Then the way we could do this is primarily through the video source. And you'd go ahead and you would pick a piece of content that people have, viewed, and through the same kind of logic flow that we discussed in YouTube, you would create an audience of people who have viewed your new video. You would also create an audience of people who have viewed all of your other videos, and you would exclude the people who have viewed all of your other videos from an audience. So you're running Instagram ads, you're trying to just reach the people who have only seen your new video. You might be trying to give them an old piece of content or something else that you really want them to see. This is the technique that you're going to go through to do that. And then if we want to go through and create ads based on Instagram account engagement, here are some other things that we can do. So I'm just going to say, here's everyone who's engaged with our posts in the last year, but we're going to exclude people who have engaged with our posts, in the last 14 days. So this means this audience would be targeting people who have engaged with us in the last year, except for the last 14 days. If you're following somebody, there's a pretty strong likelihood that you're going to engage with them at least once every 2 weeks. If you want to open this window even further up, you could say in the last 30 days. We're only going to target people who have not engaged us in the last 30 days, but they have engaged us in the past. This can be a good audience to, really re-engage lapsed fans with and bring them back into your world. Conversely, you can flip this equation and you can find people who have only engaged with you in the last 30 days and not engaged with you before those last 30 days. So if you're trying to find people who have recently found you, recently engaged with you for the first time, this is a really effective way to do it as well. Unfortunately, inside here, there's no way that you can target people who do already follow your page or do not yet follow your page. You have to do that from within the Instagram app. It's one of these ways that Facebook tries to make you spend more money with less efficient targeting, because inside the app, there's a whole lot less targeting mechanisms that you can do. And then last but not least, we're going to look at how you would create audiences out of something like a link fire link or a feature FN link. So when you're in this audience creator again, you would select the pixel that you have installed. In this case, it's called this. And then you would open up the menu for where your looking for a program from. And you can see we have Feature FM, which is one smart link platform. We have LF, which stands for Linkfire, which is another smart link platform. And in here, we're able to refine this by a bunch of different kinds of actions. So let's say we want to find, here it is. We want to be targeting people who have done specific actions on our smart link landing pages. We could narrow it down by which country they're in. We could narrow it down by the specific link that they clicked on. We could narrow it down by the album of the song that they had clicked on or anything like that. Or we can do other things like, figure out if they clicked through to a music service. So I'm just going to say if the music service contains Spotify or Apple, then, sorry, it's a little laggy to load, but you get it. If we go ahead and we create this audience, this would be targeting everybody who's clicked a Linkfire link that has this pixel installed on it, and all the users that have clicked through to Spotify or Apple. And that's a misspelled Spotify, but yeah, sorry, my bad. You can make this go as specific as you want. You could make it narrow down to one link. You can narrow it down to all of the people in one country. However you want to slice this, you really can get super granular with this. And this is one of the ways that in yesterday's discussion, adding up ads and trying to calculate return on investment from ad spend, if you're only targeting people who have already clicked through these platforms, then once people have clicked through these platforms one time, they will get auto redirected into Spotify or Apple or whatever other streaming service they had clicked through to. So there might be something that's a low click-through rate the first time they ever see one of your ads, the first time they ever click through one of your smart link landing pages. But moving forward, they're going to get auto redirected into the streaming service that they chose the first time. And this is basically effective for really increasing the click-through rate of the users that are clicking on your links and everything. So I think this is the main part that we wanted to make sure got discussed. We're down to the last 10 minutes and we can open up for questions now. As we are opening up for questions, I'm just gonna stop sharing my screen, and yeah, let's dig in and see what you have to see. Okay. So I have a request to expand on the Autogen platform, which I presented yesterday. Autogen is something called a data marketplace. They operate as an agency and basically an ad platform where you can buy access to audiences from other artists. So I'm happy to open that up again if I don't have any other questions quite yet. So please feel free to ask more questions along, and I'll answer them as we go. So inside Autogen, wow, it's convenient that an artist is already loaded up. So Autogen basically is a tool that primarily major record labels are using to sell their data and buy other data in order to increase the efficiency of advertising campaigns. And what this means is you can actually go ahead and you can say, hey, I want to take an artist like Coldplay and buy advertising access to one of those specific audiences that we've covered so far today. So if we look around through here, we can see there's 1 million people that have been to Coldplay's websites in the last, I think this is 90-day window. There are 47,000 people who have purchased Coldplay merch in, I guess, the last 90 days, and then so on and so forth. Down here, we can also see the number of link clicks that they have on all of their different smart links. So things like Linkfire, Feature FM, Smart URL. In particular, Coldplay is going to be using Linkfire, and Linkfire is the one that's most integrated with Autogen. But you could literally go ahead and say, hey, I want to buy an audience of advertising access to a portion of Coldplay's YouTube audience. You can see there's 100 million people inside their YouTube audience in the last period of time. The other things that you can think about are going to be who in their YouTube audience, to whom in their YouTube audience do you want to be advertising? Do you want to advertise to channel viewers or channel likers or subscribers or things like that. And that will just keep narrowing down the audience further and further. As you do buy these audiences, they tend to have what's called a CPM of $2. Usually, sometimes it's higher, sometimes it's lower. But that means for every 1,000 people to whom you're buying advertising access, you have to pay $2. So for merchandise, there's 47,000 people. That means we'd be paying $94 in order to buy access to advertise to their audience. And it's pretty straightforward like that. If we do want to dig in a little bit further, then we can see things like there are all sorts of ways that we can slice this out, and we can say, all right, I only want to be targeting iPhone using, sorry, I'm going to hit this end button so it keeps narrowing things. So iPhone using YouTubers. So I'm only targeting people on iPhone who use YouTube. They're not necessarily on YouTube. Sorry, it's a little bit laggy for me. And then we could just keep going through here, and we could say, and I also only want to target electronic music fans who are in the top percentage of music engagers who also absolutely love tech. So they're technophiles. I'm going to collect that too. And then I'm going to click through locations, and I'm going to say, okay, I want to target, and all of these locations do break down further. It's just my dashboard is set for basically America. And I'm going to target people who are only in Europe without worrying about getting further down the net. And I'm also going to pick people who are female and 25 to 34, and let's say 18 to 34. So what's going to happen down here is it's going to show me a number of audiences that are most relevant to the one that I've selected thus far. So Autogen is also it's the data marketplace for things like Bands in Town and CD Babies. So there's hundreds of thousands of artists connected to this. Based on the things that we've selected, I don't think that the end button held through all the way, unfortunately. No, it didn't. So we've been adding a lot of things instead of ending a lot of things. So this should narrow it down a whole lot more. But basically, it's just going to show the audiences down here, which are most similar to the things that we've specified. So like Dua Lipa's audience, it doesn't look like it's narrowing down all that much. Tech enthusiasts, oh, it's because the end button isn't selected on all the tabs, is it? Oh. Anyway, yeah, you get it though. So this is both a revenue source for advertisers in music, because the larger your audience gets and the more engaged your audience gets, the more likely it is that people are going to buy access to your audience. You can also see there's packaged up audiences here like pop music, female artists engaged, hip hop music, core audience engaged. And even if people aren't buying your specific audience access, saying you're an artist to whom I want to buy the access to advertise, you will likely get bundled into these different tags of audiences. So as companies, like Red Bull or Coke or Argos and big brands and things buy access to these audiences, then it makes it a whole lot easier for you to actually generate small pieces of revenue, but it's significant in terms of generating an ROI for advertising. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing now, head back to questions. So you can use these audiences through, okay, I'm gonna start sharing one more time again. But basically you can export these audiences into your own data marketplaces. So I'm just gonna hit Bands in Town, and I'm just gonna show export to DSP, and it's gonna let us pick. A DSP is a demand side platform. So in advertising speak, a DSP means we're running ads in this platform because it's where the ads are placed. So Facebook is a demand side platform because they hold the demand for Facebook ads. So in here, it's just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different ad platforms where you can just export this audience to in order to run ads to them. So similarly, if yeah, I mean, there's everything. Let's see if there's Spotify. think there's there's Spotify, Pandora. There's all sorts of things inside here. You get it. There's Google, Facebook, etc. So yeah, this is Autogen. This is data marketplaces. It's a lot of the future. I think if we get to a point where data marketplaces are connected to our own first-party data and are recommending buys of advertisements based on our own audience engagement, then it can be a really, really powerful tool. That's one of the things that I actually work on. I'm also the CSO of a company called Vibin, which runs automated ads for people that, basically looks at where your most engaged fans are and runs, campaigns to people like those most engaged fans. So I think if we have any other questions, let's hop in now. Shoot, I'm sorry. I just saw that the content in stories does not have sound. I'm sorry that I took 30 seconds of everyone's time for that. But yeah. Otherwise, I'm just gonna, let's say 2 minutes until of Q&A, and then no more questions, just move along. Again, if you want to get in touch with me, I'll throw my email address up on the slide in just 1 sec. And then, okay, so email address coming on screen. Here you are. That's me. If you have any more questions or you want to find out more about things like Autogen or audience building or Vibin, then feel free to give me a shout at w@hyper-orange.com. Okay, everyone. I think that's good. Have a great day. Thanks so much for your time, and I look forward to hearing from some more of you in my email. Take care, everyone.